Have you ever stopped to think about how many times a woman showed interest in you and you simply didn't notice? Well, my friend, this happens all the time. Women don't just walk up and say, "Hey, I like you." We speak in a more subtle, strategic way. But if you pay attention, the signs are all there, right in front of your face. And that's exactly what I'm going to teach you today. I'll show you 9 phrases women say when they're interested, even if they try to hide it. And of course, I'll tell you exactly how to react so you don't miss the chance. So, you know what to do, right? Stay until the end, because understanding this could be the difference between staying in the friend zone or having that amazing woman by your side. And hey, subscribe to the channel, because I'm here to help you decode this complicated world that is the female mind. Ready? Phrase 1. Do you have a girlfriend? Now tell me, why would a woman ask this out of nowhere? Do you think she's just making small talk? Not at all. If a woman asks you this, even if it's in a playful way, you can be sure of one thing. She wants to know if you're available. And more than that, she wants to know if you'd be available for her. Think with me. A woman who has no romantic or curious interest in you doesn't care if you have a girlfriend or not. It's like asking, do you prefer coffee or tea? Doesn't matter. But when she asks this, you can bet there's some intention behind it. And here comes the important detail. How do you respond? If you answer with a simple, "No, I'm single," that's it. The conversation is over. You didn't give any opening, didn't provoke, didn't do anything to make the situation interesting. Fatal mistake. So, what do? Respond with a smirk and say, "Depends. Are you asking out of curiosity or do you have an interest?" Boom! You just flipped the game. Now the ball is in her court. If she laughs, looks away, or responds with something like, "Oh, just curious," my friend, she's interested but doesn't want to admit it. That's when you keep the conversation going and let it flow. Got the idea? Let's move on to the next phrase. Phrase 2. With you, I feel comfortable. Now, pay close attention to this one because it's powerful. If a woman says, "With you, I feel comfortable," my friend, that means you've unlocked a very important level, emotional comfort. And let me tell you a secret. A woman doesn't feel comfortable with just anyone. If she feels at ease around you, it means she trusts you, likes your energy, and feels safe with you. And before you think, "Oh, but does that mean she only sees me as a friend?" Not necessarily. In fact, this is one of the strongest signs that she might be seeing you in a different light. After all, women want to be with men who make them feel good. So how do you respond to strengthen that connection? Simple. Don't let the conversation die. Say something like, "I'm glad. I really enjoy your company too." This way, you validate her feeling and create an even more comfortable space for her to keep opening up. And you know what happens when a woman feels she can be herself with you? She starts seeing you as a special guy. That means you're already ahead of many others who try to impress her without creating that kind of connection. Got the trick? Let's move on to the next phrase. Phrase 3. I've never seen you like this before. Ah, this one's classic. When a woman says, "I've never seen you like this before," you can be sure of one thing. She's seeing you in a different way. Maybe she's noticed a detail about your personality she hadn't seen before. Or maybe you did something that caught her attention in a special way. It could be the tone of your voice, how you handled a situation, or even a new look that left her intrigued. And look, when a woman notices a positive change in you, it triggers something in her brain that basically says, "Wait, is there something about him I didn't notice before?" Now, how do you react? Here, my friend, you have to play the game. Don't get awkward and respond with a, "Oh, really?" That kills the conversation. Instead, say, "Yeah, maybe you're starting to really notice me." Know what happens when you answer like that? You plant a seed in her mind. You make her think more about you, see you in a new light, and get curious to discover more about you. And guess what? The more curiosity, the more interest. So stay alert, because this phrase is a big indicator that she's starting to like you. Now let's move on. Phrase 4. You're different from the other guys. If a woman says, "You're different from the other guys," congratulations. That's a big compliment. and it means you've stood out from the crowd. Think about it. Women deal with a bunch of guys who say the same things, play the same games, and try to impress the same way. But when she tells you that, it means something about you made her stop and pay attention. Now, do you know what mistake many men make? Wasting this moment. Some guys respond with, "Oh, come on, I'm just normal." Or worse, make a joke and say, "Is that good or bad?" Man, don't do that. If she gave you that kind of compliment, accept it and use it to reinforce the attraction. The best response here is something like, "I'm happy to hear that. What exactly made you think that?" Why? Because now you turn the game. You make her start listing the qualities she sees in you. And guess what? The more she talks about it, the more she convinces herself that you really are special. In other words, she convinces herself that she likes you. Got the move? Let's move on to the next phrase. Phrase 5. If we had met earlier. This one, my friend. This phrase is full of subtext. When a woman says, "If we had met earlier," you can bet she's imagining a scenario where you two could have shared something together. Maybe she's single now and wondering if something could still happen between you. Or maybe she's in a complicated situation but can't help imagining how it would have been if you'd met at a different time in life. Either way, this phrase is a big indicator of interest. And how do you respond? Don't let the conversation die. This is the perfect moment to test the waters and see how far her curiosity goes. You could say something like, "And what do you think would have happened?" This makes her create a possible what-if scenario in her mind between you two. And believe me, when a woman starts imagining a romantic scenario with a man, she automatically gets closer to him. So, if you hear this phrase, stay sharp. She might be signaling that there's still room for something more between you two. Now, let's move on to the next phrase, because this one is good. Phrase 6. It's a shame you weren't there. Now, pay attention, because this one is a big sign she missed you. If a woman mentions an event and says, "It's a shame you weren't there," that wasn't a coincidence. She could have just talked about what happened and that's it, but she made a point of including you in the story. This means she wanted you to be there. And more, she probably thought about you while she was there. So what do? Don't just respond with, "Oh, that's nice," and drop the subject. The secret here is to keep the connection and create an opportunity to see her. You could respond with something like, "That would have been fun, huh? Let's plan something soon." This shows you got the message and also want to be present in her life. If she likes the idea, boom, you just took a step closer to her. Now, let's move on. Phrase 7. I need a hug. This one doesn't need much explanation, right? If a woman says, "I need a hug," you can be sure of one thing. This is no ordinary request. Women don't say this to just anyone. If she says it to you, it means she wants to feel your presence, your energy, and your protection. She could ask for a hug from a friend, but she chose to ask you. And you know why? Because she wants your hug. So, my friend, don't miss the opportunity. If the moment is right, just open your arms and say with a smile, "Then come here." Don't make a joke or hesitate. A hug has enormous power to create connection, and depending on the chemistry between you two, it could be the push you needed for something more. If she snuggles into you, stay there for a moment, feel the moment, let the energy flow, and when you let go, look into her eyes. If there's that little moment of silence with a smile on her face, well, I think you know what that means. Now let's move on to the next. Phrase 8. You remind me of someone. This one might seem innocent, but pay attention because there's something behind it. When a woman says, "You remind me of someone," what she's really doing is projecting an image onto you. And you can bet that this image is something positive. Maybe you have a way about you that reminds her of an ex-boyfriend she liked, a guy she was once in love with, or even someone she admires. And how do you react? Don't ask who in a desperate way. That kills the charm of the conversation. Instead, keep the mystery and play around with the situation. I hope it's someone you like, right? If she smiles and confirms, "Congratulations," that means she sees qualities in you that attract her. And if she doesn't answer directly but gives a little smile, my friend, that's almost an invitation for you to get closer. Now let's close with a bang with the last phrase. Phrase 9. What do you think of women who take the lead? This question is a real test. If a woman asks you, what do you think of women who take the lead? You can bet she's testing the waters to see if she can be more direct with you. Many women still fear looking easy when they show interest. So, before taking any steps, they ask questions like this to see how you'll react. And here's where a lot of men mess up. Some guys answer, "Oh, I think it's fine, but I prefer to take the lead myself." Bad answer. If she asks this, she wants to know if you'll welcome a possible move from her. So, the best response? Something like, "I think it's amazing, especially when a woman knows what she wants." Done. With that, you've opened up space for her to show her interest without fear. And if she was thinking about making a move, now you just gave her the push she needed.